Good evening, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of A Word with Pastor Webb. I'm your host, Pastor Webb, and we have a very special guest tonight. We have Mr. Daraford Jones. Please help me to salute and celebrate my friend and brother, Mr. Jones. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening. How are you doing,
Good,
Pastor
good.
Webb?
How was your drive? How was your drive?
Drive was it took longer than I expected because traffic was backed up.
Okay.
But
No,
it was okay.
no issues.
Well, I got off, came through Plant City, rerouted myself. But that's life, you know.
Life all about being rerouted.
Being able to adjust on the move.
All right. Well, we're not going to prolong the time. What's your story? Tell me how you grew up.
Well, before I tell you my story, let me tell you how my story started. My story started 48 years ago in Lakeland, Florida. I'm currently 48 years old, one of 7 kids. My mom, my dad are from South Carolina. My 4 oldest siblings are from South Carolina. Didn't have a lot at all. I mean, we had very little growing up in Lakeland. And so my story is, just think of a little boy who didn't have much, just wanted to be a success in life and have more than what was presented to him.
Wow.
So I grew up with very little. Give you an example of what I mean by that is, on Saturdays, when most kids was probably playing and having fun, my Saturdays required me to go to the orange grove to pick some fruit if I wanted some money in my pocket.
Oh, orange grove. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
the orange grove. Most of y'all don't know nothing about that. You wouldn't know nothing about that. These are working man hands here.
So you rode the bus?
I rode the bus.
Wow.
Yes.
With the fruit sack?
Picking and throwing it. On days was no school, I wasn't going to play. I was going to the orange grove to make a little money. That was going to be given to my parents, and they were going to break me off a little bit.
All right, Doc. Well, give me 3 words that best describe who you are.
The 3 words that would best describe me would be believer, determined, and I persevere.
Okay.
I persevere.
Okay.
The reason I'm a believer because I'm a believer in God. I've been a believer in God ever since I can remember. Honest, like 9 or 10, I was baptized. My mom always took me to church. I've been determined and focused on whatever I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, and I understood that I had to persevere through it with patience and just a lot of love. So that's who I am. I mean, I'm a fixer too. So I know you asked me 3, but I'm tending to be a fixer. So I would say those are the 4 words.
So you just fix it with cars, relationships?
Just fixer of it, whatever it is. I mean, fix situations.
Okay.
Anytime I see somebody that I think is in need and truly in need, I'm willing to help.
Okay.
So that's what I mean, fix it.
Okay. All right. Now, why did you choose education? You've been in education how long?
I've been in education for about 20 years, but I don't think education was chosen by me. It chose me. And I think education has chosen all of us, either academically, from the mean streets of wherever you grew up at,
right,
or in faith-based religion. We are educated. Some people are educated in just one of those 3 areas. Some people are educated in 2, some people are educated in 3. And what I mean by when I say education chose me is my undergrad degree is in accounting.
Right.
Of course, I wanted to get into money-making business. And by my undergrad degree being in accounting, when I first graduated, I went and started working for the state in the economic services division. And a great friend of mine, one of my best friends, met him in 7th grade. He gave me a call one day, and he said, you ever thought about teaching? I said, no. He said, man, I got the perfect job for you. We work about 5 hours a day, come and go like you want to, you teach. I said, yeah, man, because right now I'm working bank hours. I'm working from 8 to 5, you know? So that's how I got into education. So education chose me.
Okay. Well, you are a high school principal, you own your own taxing company, and a trucking business. Tell me, how do you manage all 3?
First, before I say I manage them, because God said we can do all things through him, that's how I'm able to do that. And I manage because I'm disciplined with my time.
Right.
I know the hours that I'm scheduled to work for at a high school. And technically, as the principal of high school, you work 24 hours a day. But because I'm disciplined in saying from 6 in the morning to 4 in the PM, let me get everything done. And then I delegate well to my assistant principals and my deans, and hopefully everyone's doing their job, which makes my job a little easier. For tax services, the great thing about taxes, the bulk of them run from January, well, this year until May the 17th, but normally finish in April. So I work hard during that time. And then the trucking is I have 2 individuals who are driving for me. My thing is just to kind of manage and make sure the truck's on the road, the wheels are turning we're making money, meaning the drivers are making money and myself are making money. So it's just about discipline and managing your time management.
Right. All right. Well, how does it feel to be rich?
Well, brother, I would say I'm rich in having friends like you in my life. I'm rich through my family. And that's as rich as I get.
All right, Doc. Now, what customers do you serve in the tax business?
I do individual tax preparations, self-employed individuals, sole proprietorships, and then I do small LLCs. Those are the individuals. Just because it goes back to that time management thing.
Right. So you get a lot of guys that come off the streets and they say, hey, do my taxes.
In a business, the best way to be a great business is word of mouth.
Word of mouth, okay.
So I tell my customers, if you like what I do, if you love what I do, then tell 10 of your friends. And if you upset with anything that I have done in regards to your taxes, tell me so I can fix it. So a lot of it comes that way. I mean, I have business cards and different things like that, but my business has grown as a result of people telling me. I mean, I just had a client call me the other day. She's referred her brother and her sister. And I just did her brother taxes yesterday and his wife, and he was like, hey, you got a customer for the rest of my life, brother. I said, okay.
That's good. I like that. Now, what company do you deal with for the trucking company? I know you got trucking, so you deliver just one company or several companies?
Okay. No, I have 2 trucks. They're on the road, and I say I'm co-owner because the drivers, like I said, one's my best friend and the other one's my brother. The one that my best friend drives, we deliver to outlets. If you've ever been by the outlet in Orlando,
right.
Anywhere, we deliver to Bath and Body Works, Burlington, Coach. We deliver those things.
Coach?
Yeah, things like that. So we get a percentage of those loads. The other one, we pick the loads we want with my brother off what is called a DAC board. So we pick those loads. So he pick them, I sign off on them, he deliver. And so basically almost anything that would fit in that 53-foot trailer, we deliver it.
So what is your goals in terms of trucks? You want to own how many trucks when it's all said and done?
When it's all said and done, I want to own 4 trucks. What I say, co-own, manage. So I have 2 out on the road. Goal is to get another one out by the end of this year, and then maybe possibly 1 more.
Okay. All right. And you plan to retire at what age?
I've always said that I wanted to retire at the age of 55.
Okay.
But if I was doing less work, making more money, then I would keep doing it. But my goal is always to be retired at the age 55.
Okay. Now, what are some of the pressures that comes along with owning several businesses?
The first thing is time management.
Okay.
It is very demanding because my days normally go from about 5 a.m. till about 10:30, 11:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. And the closer it gets to the end of tax season, then the more is required of me. But that's my normal day.
Okay.
So time management, that pressure, and then the knowledge. I have to make sure when I'm at school, my knowledge base is dealing with education. When I'm doing taxes, my knowledge base has to be with taxes, and then when it comes to truck. And so I have to always update myself on what's new coming in for education, what's new coming in for the tax business. I go to trainings and I take tests every year in regards to that. And then what's new with the trucking company. Okay. And then what requirements we got to meet for the state to keep the trucks on the road. So those are the 2. That's where the most pressure comes from.
Well, I got a sidebar question. Now, for those who got stimulus checks, would that count at income? So they'd have to claim the income on taxes next year?
No. What they're actually doing this year with those, the first and second stimulus that you received, the $1,200, $600, $2,400 if you're married, what your tax preparer should be asking you, did you receive that first and second one? And if yes, then all they do is put it on there. It's not counting against you, because if you didn't receive it, either one of them, then it's supposed to be added to your refund this year. So it won't count against you. So when your tax preparer asks you that question about your first and second stimulus, the only reason they're asking is to make sure that you did receive it. Because if you didn't receive it, then we need to make sure you get it in your tax return this year.
Okay, well, I like that, Doc. I like that. Now, what would you tell a young boy who wants to be a high school principal or start their own business?
Well, what I would tell a young boy or a young girl, in regards to being a high school principal or on your own business, first of all, make sure you have love in you for whatever you're going to do. You're going to need patience in whatever you want to do, because it's going to take time. Whatever few pennies I do earn, it took me time to get to earn those pennies. They just, you put in a lot of work. Like I just told you, those hours are long, and you don't a lot of times see anything for it. So make sure you have the love. So to become a principal, make sure you educate yourself, do all the things you need to do in regards to becoming a principal. You might want to become a teacher first, you become a dean, AP, and then principal, but you gotta have love for kids. If you don't have love for kids, don't get an education. Please don't. And owning your own business, whatever your passion is that you would do for free. Yes, I would do taxes for free, I would. I'm not going to, but I would. And the reason I love trucks so much is I had an uncle when I was younger. He used to drive trucks for this company, his furniture company, and he used to let me sit in the seat, blow the horn, and so I just fell in. But what have a passion for it, have a real passion for it, and then if you'll do it for free, then you just know once you'll put everything into it for it to work for you.
Well, let's go back to the high school. At the high school campus, what do you see are some of the biggest struggles for black boys?
I'm glad you, I didn't know that, but I'm glad, is that understanding that it's not about the outward appearance, it's about what you have in here.
Right.
Because society is moving so fast now that everything is how you look, they call it the drip and all these different things, and that's only temporary.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, because and it's not just the boys, but it's girls, they judge each other on how they drip look. So I know that may put some parents, I don't know all parents, in a financial situation because they want their kids, and their kids putting that pressure on them. Hey, I gotta have the latest phone, I gotta have the latest footwear, I gotta have the latest thing. And that's really, that's nothing. That makes you no better person or no worse person than who you are internally. So if you can work on your internal, but that's the biggest struggle. So
dripping is the way you dress.
The way you dress.
Right.
Yes.
So you dripping right now. The three-piece suit you got on now.
Technically, I'll probably be soaking wet right now, like I just stepped out the ocean.
Wow. Okay. Now, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
I love to read and I love to travel.
Okay.
For fun, I love spending time with my nephews and my sons. And I have some older nephews that I kind of helped raise, and then they kind of came along with my oldest son, and then they so when I get time to spend with them, don't get as much time as I used to, but every year when they were young on spring break, I would load them up in the van and we'll travel, we'll do different things like that. So that's where my fun come from. And now my younger nephews, which are my great nephews and great nephews, trying to spend more time with them. But traveling and reading. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the best author is John Grisham. Grissom. He wrote The Time to Kill, Samuel L. Jackson, and Pelican Brief and all that.
All right, okay. Question, so you say travel. Now, you was recently in Paris last year? I ain't put your business in the street, but you all in Paris, man. How can I go to Paris, man?
I was actually not in Paris last year because it was a pandemic.
Oh, no, year before that. Yeah, year before that.
Well, no, I was actually in Rome.
I apologize. You're in Rome.
In Florence and Pisa that year. Year before that, I went to Paris.
Yeah.
And
you brought me a shirt back, man. So
whatever you want, brother, I'll bring back for you. It's just, when you travel like that internationally, you got to make sure your luggage is a certain weight because they're going to add on to your bill.
Okay. Now, if you had one wish, what would that be?
If I had one wish, I would wish that there was a cure for cancer, but specifically colon cancer. Before 2014.
Okay.
And why I say 2014, in 2014, my wife, she was 34 years old.
Right.
She passed away from colon cancer. So if I had that one wish, I would wish it was a cure for that prior to that.
Okay, all right. What is the one thing some may know about you, but others may not know?
I attended Santa Fe Catholic High School, and I played quarterback for them in high school before I transferred to another high school and played on the other side of the ball. Many people may not know that. I was a starting quarterback in high school.
But you played defensive back in Lakeland?
I played defensive back my senior year in Lakeland.
Okay, yeah. And Santa Fe, Christian?
It's a Catholic school.
Predominantly white school?
Yes.
Yeah, so you, okay, I'll leave that alone. I was going to say something, but we won't air. Okay. What are some of the early mistakes you have made in the past and you had to overcome?
I would preference that question with this. All of the mistakes that I made them because I didn't follow my biblical upbringing.
Wow.
I was doing things that I should not have been doing. Some of the early mistakes is I was hard-headed as a young boy.
Right.
Being a decent to a fairly good athlete, I had the wrong attitude. Making choices on things, you know, to do were mistakes I made. And I thank God that he still gave me the ability to be sitting here to say, no matter what mistakes you make, he can bring you through those mistakes.
Right.
If you get back to him and put your love back in him, put your faith back in him. So I made many. It's probably too many to really account for right now, Brother Webb. But the thing of it is, I'm a testament by sitting here that no matter what mistake you make,
right.
no matter how bad you think it is or it will become, that if you get back to God and you believe in God, he'll bring you through whatever.
Yeah, I like it, Doc. I like that. 'Cause we're going to make mistakes.
We are.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah. Now, what is your biggest loss? The biggest loss?
I kind of mentioned it a little while ago. My biggest loss since 2014 was the loss of my wife when she passed at, like I say, at the age of 34. But recently, I had a nephew. When I was speaking of my nephews earlier, we did my proudest moments.
Right.
About a month ago, a little more than a month ago, he passed. He had an aneurysm, and he passed at the age of 33. And the thing is, he actually passed on her birthday, her date of birth. So those are my two biggest losses.
Right.
I can.
So what do you tell a young couple, a young man, young lady who have lost their wife and lost a nephew? How do you deal with the loss? And these are, I know your nephew's a recent loss. Your wife was back in 2014. So what do you tell people who are grieving with their loss?
Go to the Word of God.
Yeah.
I've been reading the 23rd Psalms every Monday through Friday. I read it out the Bible because I want to see the words. But on Saturdays and Sundays, I recite it in my head. I never forget when I went off to college, my first year I was up in Wingate, and my mom purchased me a Bible. I still had that Bible, and I had it recovered twice. But go to the Word of God. Go to where your strength is. And I would read from Psalm 46:1 every day. My sister, one of my sisters, she knew how hard I was dealing with my wife's loss. And she would give it to me. She said, you know where your refuge and your strength lie. And I honestly, that was it for me. And have someone to communicate with and be open and honest with them and express yourself. Don't hold it in. Because you hold it in, it's going to really be overwhelming. Right.
But let me dig a little deeper. Now, what happens when you lose someone like that, wife, nephew, and you say, Christian, you've been serving God? Did you doubt God during that time? Or?
You wonder why. I mean, like I say, with my nephew who I just lost, it's like, why? And I can remember when my wife was in the hospice, and she would say to me, she was like, I don't want to die. I'm like, I don't want you to die.
She actually said.
She actually said that to me. She said, Daraford, I don't want to die. And so you say, you know what I'm saying, you got somebody who better than me. She was way better than me.
Right.
She was better than me. My nephew, he was way better than me in my own eyes as people and as persons and the way they've lived their life. And so you just, you do. You say to you,
why, God?
Why? You do say that.
And over time.
And then over time, you realize he don't make any mistakes.
Amen.
You know, and you try to find what you can do. And I mean, you brought that up. He has two younger sons that my nephew has left here, and my wife has nieces that she's left here. And so I do all I can to stay in their lives as a result of that. So.
All right, perfect. Now, what are you most proud of?
My nephews and my sons.
Okay.
The ones who I was able to get when I was young.
Right.
They helped me, and I look at them now in their 30s, and that they have become men who are family men. They look out for their kids. As I just stated, you know, I look out, they my great nephews and great nephews, but my nephews, they take care of them. I mean, like, they'll take them on trips, and they'll do all the things I used to do for them. So that's what I'm proudest of, that passed on to them.
Okay, that's love that. So how many nephews you got? Not great nephews, but.
Goodness. Oh, man. Probably about 10.
10, okay.
Like, not great nephews or great nephews, but just regular nephews, 10.
3 sisters? How many sisters?
I have 3 sisters.
And they all are nurses?
Yes. One's a nurse anesthetist, and the other 2 are RNs.
Okay. Why didn't you go into the medical field?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you why.
All right, okay. What are some of the people who have impacted your life growing up?
There have been many people who impact my life. And I want to actually say to you, when we met about, 30 years ago
Yeah,
now,
30 years ago, man.
coaching the Lakeland Lumberjacks.
Yeah.
And ever since that point, we've had multiple conversations, which has helped me along the way. Hopefully some of the things I said will help you. So you've impacted my life. But if I want to say is one person, I have a sister. Her name, we call her Johnny. Her name is Johnny, but we call her Sheila.
Right.
When I went off to school, my first year, I went to school in Wingate. And I went up there to play football, and I was like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I came back home, and it hit me like, well, what you gonna do? Because you not been, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she came in and she like, you gonna do whatever. And she was actually the first one to kind of give me a book in high school. She gave me that John Grisham, The Time to Kill book. She like, won't you read? And she said, well, what you want to do when I was in high school? And she said, and I said, I want to make some money. I want
Right.
to make money. Once again, having very little, and I actually started taking classes related to accounting in high school because she said that. So it's been many people who've impacted my life, but she kind of stands out in that area.
Okay. Now, if you could trade places with one person, who would that be? One person. For one day.
And I give her one more day.
Yeah.
And,
Your wife,
and my
wife.
wife with the knowledge of knowing what she's got to go back to so she can do whatever she want to do.
Wow.
Because I just saw her in her last days that she wasn't able to. I give her one more day.
Wow. I like that, man. Now, how has God played a role in your success? You're a very successful young man. How has God played a role in your success?
In every way.
In every way.
I would not be sitting here without God. My bad choices, my good choices, my ups and downs. I go back to what I said a little earlier about I'm a believer, and once I really understood that and bought into it and knew that he would be more than sufficient and supply my needs, I say it all the time to anybody that want to hear me. I say, look, he's giving me more than 10 men would want, I believe,
Right.
And I'm so thankful for that. But every piece of success that I have is a result of him, because I can do all things through him.
Right.
I don't use the word can't.
Yeah.
It don't exist in my vocabulary, and I shouldn't have said it just then. I should have just said that word CAN apostrophe T.
Right.
But it's nothing I'm not able to do, because God said I can do whatever I want to do.
Right. But how do we come across or get across the young guys who don't trust God, who don't follow God, and they have heard about God, but they still think it's their intellectual ability, their physical ability. How do we get it across? And they dripping, like you said, but how do we get to them, reach them, to know them that you need God?
That's something I've been tussling with being a high school principal, because you got to have separation of religion and
Right.
state. I would say if any parent is listening, it's our responsibilities to make sure they are sitting in a place of worship as much as they can. I can remember my mom, we used to go on Sunday morning and Sunday evening. I get out on Sunday, I used to go down and play Little League, play sandlot football, if y'all know what that is. You just pick them up, bust them. Man, all the guys, we out there playing that I was growing up with. My mom would come down there at 5 o'clock, because we had to be back at 6, and she'll call my name. And all the guys, you gotta go back to church.
Yeah, go to church,
You gotta go
right.
back to church on Sunday evening. We go keep playing. And I love them guys to this day, but some of them I've lost because they've died. Some of them been to prison. And what I have learned, and what the ones who still around say to me, they respect me. And it was because my mama made me go. And as a parent, don't have a friendship relationship with your child. You be the parent, and you make them do the things that you know gonna make them a better person in the future. Because the words say, you train a child up the way they should go, and they won't depart from it in their later years.
Amen. You trying to preach, man?
Hey man, I can do all things. Hey, I actually looked on the web the other day to take some classes just to get a better understanding of the word, but that's all it is. That's all.
I appreciate that, Doc. Now, in closing words, any remarks you want to leave with the audience?
Well, I would leave with everyone. Let's have love for each other.
Right.
Let's do our best to understand each other. The word of God is true and correct. The further we get away from them, the more ungodly things we see. But if we have the love for each other and get an understanding for each other, we'll make this world a better place. Be patient with each other.
Right.
And learn money management skills. Teach your kids right now. If you don't know, get them with someone who can teach them money management skills, because it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with the money you make.
Amen.
So definitely teach them money management skills.
Perfect. Well, man, last question. What's the best talk show in the land?
From what I've been told and what I experienced, A Word with Pastor Webb.
Thank you, my brother. Glad you could be on the show. And to my listening audience, until I see you again, may God bless you real good.